Have you ever seen a car roll by and everything around it just pauses for a second? Conversations stop. Phones come out. Even people who don't know a thing about cars suddenly care. That's exactly what happens every single time this RX-7 hits the street. And no, it's not loud for no reason. It's not trying too hard, and it's definitely not chasing clout. This build turns heads because it does everything right without begging for attention. This is a Mazda RX-7 FD, one of the most iconic JDM cars ever made, but this one isn't stuck in the past. It's a full resto mod that blends old-school Japanese soul with modern execution, and honestly, it's the kind of build that reminds people why they fell in love with cars in the first place. Now let's be real for a second. RX-7s have a reputation. Everybody's heard the jokes. Rotaries blow up. They're unreliable. Good luck keeping it running. And that's exactly why this build hits so hard. Because instead of running from the rotary, the owner leaned into it and perfected it. Under the hood, this RX-7 still rocks a rotary, but not in a sketchy, Craigslist project way. This thing is built properly. The engine bay is so clean it looks like it came straight out of a video game render. A street-ported setup paired with a modern single-turbo gives it smooth power delivery without killing drivability. It spools clean, pulls hard, and sounds absolutely unreal. Not obnoxious, not raspy, just that deep, mechanical rotary scream that makes your spine tingle. And here's the part that separates this build from the ones you scroll past online. It's not built just for dyno numbers. It's built to be driven. The cooling system is dialed in, the wiring is tucked, the hoses are routed with intention. This is the kind of engine bay that shows discipline, not chaos. You can tell whoever built this car actually cared about longevity, not just flexing horsepower screenshots. But the reason this RX-7 turns heads everywhere starts before you even hear it. The stance is straight up surgical. Not slammed for Instagram, not monster truck high either. It sits low, planted, and aggressive without ruining the geometry. Coilovers are tuned just right, hugging the road, but still letting the car breathe. Over fender lines sit a perfectly chosen wheel setup, wide enough to look mean, clean enough to stay timeless. No weird offsets, no try-hard fitment, just pure balance. And the paint? Oh yeah, this isn't your average loud wrap that looks outdated in 6 months. It's a deep metallic tone that changes in the light. In the shade, it looks classy and almost subtle. Under the sun, it pops like crazy. People don't just glance at it, they double-take. That's the difference between loud and tasteful. Walk around the car, and you start noticing the details. The subtle aero pieces that actually make sense. A front lip that flows with the body lines instead of fighting them. Side skirts that visually lower the car without overdoing it. And the rear? Clean, simple, functional. No giant wings screaming for attention. Just confidence. Now open the door, and this build really starts flexing. The interior keeps the RX-7's driver-focused vibe alive, but modernizes it where it matters. Bucket seats that hold you in without feeling like torture devices. A steering wheel that feels right in your hands, not some cheap aftermarket trend. The gauges are clear, purposeful, and actually readable when you're on boost. Nothing here feels random. Nothing feels like it was added just because it looked cool online. This car doesn't try to impress passengers. It's built for the driver. And that's rare now. Here's why this RX-7 is turning heads everywhere though. It's not just the looks, or the sound, or the performance. It's the balance. Too many builds go all in on one thing and completely forget the rest. They're either show cars that can't move or monsters that look like unfinished science projects. This RX-7 lives right in that sweet spot where everything works together. You can cruise it. You can push it. You can park it and just watch people circle it like it's art. And when it rolls through a meet, it doesn't need revs. It doesn't need burnouts. It doesn't need drama. People just know. You'll see heads turn before the car even stops. You'll see the nods from older enthusiasts who remember these cars when they were new. You'll see younger kids pulling out their phones because they've only seen RX-7s like this in games and movies. This build bridges generations. And let's talk about respect for a second. JDM culture isn't about slapping parts together. It's about intention. It's about understanding the car, its history, and pushing it forward without erasing what made it special. This RX-7 does exactly that. It doesn't disrespect the platform. It elevates it. That's why it turns heads everywhere. Not because it's trying to be viral, but because it's authentic. In a world full of copy-paste builds, this RX-7 stands out by being honest. Honest to the era it came from. Honest to the driver behind the wheel. Honest to the idea that a car can be fast, beautiful, and usable at the same time. And maybe that's the real reason people can't stop staring. This build reminds us that cars aren't just content. They're passion. They're personality. They're proof that when you take your time and do things right, the result speaks louder than any hype ever could. So next time you see an RX-7 like this roll by and feel that instinct to stop and stare, don't fight it. Some builds are meant to be looked at twice.